Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Online Karting League. This is the World Series Round 3 at Campillos in Spain. Big facility. We are racing with the juniors, and we've got 7 of them on a track with our MiniROK. I'm Sean Opsher. I'll be running solo tonight. Hopefully you guys enjoy the racing on display with the juniors. These guys normally put on an absolute amazing show, so let's hope, even if there's only 7 of them, that they will give us a real good show. We've got one new international driver tonight, Dimitar Kolev. Everybody else is African, or currently living in Africa, South Africa rather. No, I'm lying. There's a couple South Africans. There's one from Mozambique and one from Namibia. Misa Taperi, Alexander Pricevic, South African, Cecil Koorts in Namibia, Daniel Resende in Mozambique, Ruvan Maritz is from South Africa, Dimitar Kolev, Bulgaria, I believe, and Rodi Sang Mafisa, also from South Africa. Taperi running in the Czech Republic Africa team here in South Africa, as well as Rodi Sang Mafisa. No Max Bosov tonight, unfortunately. He has, I think he's flying back from Japan, I believe. With karate duties, so safe travels there for Max. Hopefully he'll be back for the next one. Ruvan Maritz, hand up there. These guys got about a minute left on their practice rather, before we head into our 10-minute qualifying. Then after the 10-minute qualifying, we'll have a 7-lap race, 6 laps plus a formation, so 6 racing laps, 1 formation lap. We are doing rolling starts, and then we'll do a 9-lap final with a formation lap, so 10 laps it will display on screen. Last time I think we were about 8 juniors. These guys were all pretty much racing start to finish. I'm very excited to see what we've got. There's a couple guys still missing though, maybe having some technical difficulties. I also know all of these kids are racing in real world, which means a lot of traveling in between countries and provinces, so of course they might miss it. It is also exam times for most of the kids in the African side, so obviously the academics will have to come first. Having said that, Cecil Koorts, he's online and he's starting with exams tomorrow, so thanks to Cecil Koorts Senior allowing his boy to race, and hopefully these guys put on a good show. Like I said, last couple seconds of practice. Pricevic has got a 10th ahead of Taperi. It's a great opportunity for some of these drivers to score some mega points, because there's no Ruan Victor, no Max Bosov. Excuse me. So, who else was there? There was a couple of guys. Liam Tekiso as well last time around, not racing tonight. So I'm very keen to see who's going to be able to score maximum points. Miso Taperi last time was pretty much up there. Daniel Resende as well, who was really a surprise package in that last race. Resende came out guns blazing really quick, fighting up front, which was super good to see. And then Maritz as well. I think Maritz has had a little bit of a moment in the race. Alright, qualifying has started. Rodi Sang Mafisa first one out, then Cecil Koorts, Resende right behind him. Out on track, these on Campillos, you pretty much come out the same style as on Sana. You just turn right onto the racing track. There we go. I think Koorts is going to be the first one up. One little bit of a change for these boys is last time around they were racing on the African server, so all the South African drivers or African drivers had very low ping. This time around they are racing on the European server, so the ping will be higher, which means netcode becomes a little bit more tricky. It is important for these boys to learn how to race and cope with that, so leave a little bit more room. And of course, they can race hard and fair, but also just make sure they leave just enough room to not take each other out. Right, everybody's going to go out. We really have to give these junior karts more love. Get them custom liveries. Right now they only have the OKL liveries, and then the one, I think Kolev has the Monster K, the old body kit still. Dimitar Kolev is also one of the newer drivers in OKL, so excited to see what he does with this little MiniROK. He had a bit of a ping spike there, so who's first out? Tapedi. Oh, Cecil Quirts, he's not going to be able to get a good lap in with flipping his cart. Can't park there. Cecil. Dimitar Kolev now starting his first lap. Let's have a look. Daniel Resende climbing all over the kit. I wonder if these boys have made some setup changes, because the minis do not like to be climbing curbs. They flip so easily. Let's see. Maritz also who's currently on track first. Okay, so it will be Taperi. Let's go to Taperi. Let's see what Miso Taperi does. Going into the final sector now. Double right-hander onto the back straight there. Very long track. This is very similar to Formula K down here in South Africa. Track we've used for the very first OKL World Championship. Now the left-hander, then the right-hander again. Onto the final corner we go. Let's see. Miso Tapedi will cross the line for his first qualifying lap. And it doesn't count. Alright, so Rory Sang Mafisa will be crossing the line for his first lap. Hey, he did a 1:11.9. That does not seem like a good lap at all. And it wasn't. A 1:10.2 there. Here comes Resende crossing the line now. Even faster, 9.9. So Daniel Resende picking up where he left off last time around, leading the way. Here comes Pricevic now crossing the line, and 1.5 seconds off the pace. Pricevic not finding the lap time that we saw in the tail end of the practice session. So Sokurts once again running track limits, invalidates his lap. Taperi will finish another lap. Let's see what Miso Taperi does here in the final sector. See what it looks like. It's such a big facility. Right, let's see what Taperi does. Goes into the last corner. Doesn't seem very stable with his cart though. He does go into pole position though. That's a 9.4. Track seems like it's rubbering in nicely now. Ruvan Maritz will be the next to cross the line. Where will he place that cart? 8/10 off the pace at the moment. Maritz does not improve. Here comes Daniel Resende once more. Does he improve this time? Yes. 2/10 off the pace. So Miso Taperi's got all the pace at the moment. Kolev has now gone 7/10 off. So, yeah, still big gaps. Ooh, Pricevic not getting it his way at the moment. Sissokurt still not able to put in a legitimate lap. Here he comes now. Crossing the line. He's going to try and get a tow. He's too far off to get a tow. Quirtz once again does not complete a lap. Cecil Quirtz is finding track limits to be very tricky at the moment. Rory Sang Mafisa 2.5 seconds off the pace. His teammates leading the charge at the moment. Still 2.5 off. Miso Tapedi coming into the last couple of corners now. 5 minutes to go. Miso Tapedi leading the way. 109.420, 420. Does not improve this time around. Miso Taperi definitely has got a setup there from Alphonse Kiwi, because he's lightning fast on track at the moment. Here comes Daniel Resende, going to cross the line now as well. Out of the last corner, get his head down, tuck, maximize his pace. Doesn't improve. Maritz doesn't improve either, so the boys are not finding the pace. Is Pricevic going to be able to do something, because he's been struggling. And Pricevic is one of the drivers I'd expect to be right up the front with pace. There we go. 2.5 off the pace. So Pricevic moving up into third place, closing the gap a bit. Actually, by quite a lot. And Cecil Quirtz half a second off now. So Cecil Quirtz has finally managed to put his lap on the board. Gets himself smack dead in the middle of the pack. Rory Sang Mafisa 2.5. He's the only one that's out of a second, more than a second away from the leader. Mafisa not finding his pace at the moment. Here comes Taperi. Will he move that bar? Yes, he does. A 9.1. Half a second the lead now. So Miso Taperi just keeps raising the bar, showing some pace there. Amazing there from Miso Taperi. Here comes the Mozambican driver, Daniel Resende. Does he improve? No, again, he doesn't. Ruvan Maritz does improve, but not by much. But he is one position up. He's almost 9/10 off the pace, though. Here comes Pricevic. Just keep an eye on that timing sheet. Pricevic doesn't seem like he's keeping it too clean, but he's 1/10, just below 2/10 off the pace there. So Koorts still in the same spot. Even though it doesn't look clean from Pricevic, he is finding the pace. And he's not benefiting from a tow. He's completely driving on his own. Rory Sang Mafisa will cross the line now. He does indeed improve by 6/10, but it's still 2.2 seconds off the lead. Tapedi will come across the line now. Does he move it again? He does not move the bar this time around. Daniel Resende will be crossing the line next. 2.5 minutes to go. Half a second off the pace is Daniel Resende at the moment. 3/10 off the pace, so he does improve. Not on position, but Ruvan Maritz has moved up one position this time around. Very close between Koorts and Maritz. Pricevic just below 2/10. What does he do this time around? Does he get closer? No, he does not. Koorts, does he get closer? He does not. Tapedi, ooh, what was that? Mr. Tapedi having internet problems there. It looked like he went Tokyo Drift there. We get back with him this time around. Let's see. Into the last couple corners. The left and right hander. Tapedi going to use the track and more. No, he's not. He doesn't improve either. The guys out of the last corner does not seem stable at all. They seem like they are moving around quite a lot with that kart. Daniel Resende now. Oh, climbed that curb very aggressively. Kart seems to be bouncing all over the place. Does he improve on his lap time? He does not this time around. Maritz, will he get closer? No, he doesn't. He's still in 4th place. Remains in 4th. 7.5 off the pace is Ruvan Maritz. It's a big gap. Right, into the last minute we go. Who's next to cross the line this time around? Koorts. Oh, the gap remains the same. Mr. Tapedi will have enough time to start one more lap, I believe, after this one. I think most of the drivers should be able to start one more lap. Until 3:88, Ruvan Maritz will at least be able to do one more. Here we go, Tapedi crossing the line. It does improve. He doesn't move the bar, but he does have time for one more lap. Here comes Mafisa. Mafisa 2.2 seconds off the pace. He's going to have to get something going this time around. He's got one more lap to go. Daniel Resende should have enough time to start one more lap, and he, I think, will be the last one to get going. No, Maritz will cross the line just in time with 1 second to spare. So Maritz has got one more lap to go. This is the last lap for Alexander Pricevic. Pricevic getting onto the curb there. The checkered flag is being waved as he does move into pole position. That's an 8.8 there by Pricevic. He leaves it until the very last moment to move himself up into pole position. But that's not the end of qualifying because there's still a couple guys that need to cross the line. Koorts doesn't improve 1 second off the pace. Mr. Tapedi, this is it. It's all or nothing now. Tapedi going into the 180. Then into the left-hander before he sweeps back to the right. Throw that kart. And use all of the track and more. Get your head down. Maximize your pace. And it doesn't improve. So, Mr. Tapedi was leading the way all the way through up until the end. And Pricevic just slowly but surely crept up the grid. And taking pole position away from Mr. Tapedi. This is only for the pre-final though. The pre-final will score points. Daniel Resende does improve but remains in 3rd. His lap time, he gained a 10th on his lap there. But that was it. Now the drivers need to quickly get back to pits so we can get racing. Let's just hope nobody gets disqualified. Just making sure we got all the drivers in. Alright, so pole position. Alexander Prizovic, you will take the charge for the formation lap. Miso Tapedi on his outside. Ruven Maritz will be behind Tapedi. We will have Daniel Resende starting in P3 with Kolev and Kurtz in row number 3 and Rorisang Mafisa, the only one that was more than a second away from the pole position. So Mafisa not finding his lap times in this qualifying session. Here we go. Already green light, which is waiting for the light to go out, and it's the start of the formation. Right, guys, it's a formation lap, please. It's not race time, it's single file. Prizovic needs to pick up the pace. He's holding everybody up for some reason. This is going to be the slowest formation lap I've seen in my life. There we go. I think the race director did decide to just give a little bit of a shout over to Prizovic, reminding him that there's absolutely no point cruising. We are here to race. Oh, Prizovic almost flipping on his formation lap. That would have not been ideal. I wonder if we can do a open. I just move us. Oops, I pressed the wrong button there. Apologies. I just wanted to move us over into a frontal view on the orbit cam. While we wait for the boys to finish their formation, Prizovic is going to start bunching them up now. There we go, all the weaving done and dusted. Kolev there at the back, doing something interesting. Not sure what that was all about, but he will tuck into his starting position. Everybody's laying down. Into the 180 we go. We are already in double file. The boys are behaving, keeping their pace nice and slow. It should be about 30 to 40 kilometers an hour. Crawling towards the tram lines now. Let's make sure everybody keeps it nice and clean and consistent. The pace seems good. What does the race director say? Alright, that's lights out and away we go. It seems like it. Oh, Daniel Resende already moving up into second place. Miso Tapedi caught off guard and pushed at the back. Tapedi has been shunted off to the side. Another big love tap there from his fellow teammate at Czech Republic Africa. That is Rorisang Mafisa getting it sideways. Miso Tapedi losing out quite a lot on the start of this race. Kolev moving up a couple positions. Prizovic leading the way. No, Daniel Resende is going to go down the inside into the next corner. Yes, Daniel Resende has moved himself up into P1. From P3 to P1. Maritz spun around there, getting it side by side with Prizovic there, unfortunately. Resende leading the way once again. Daniel Resende, the main benefactor from the starts of the race. He's done that the last time around at Sano as well. Having said that, here comes Prizovic, sending it down the inside. Hard. Giving each other space there at least. Showing each other enough respect. Prizovic again showing Resende space. Prizovic running all the way to the outside of the track. Daniel Resende getting the inside line now towards the hairpin. Nope. Prizovic sending it down the inside again. We've swapped the lead about 3 times in this one lap. That's crazy. As I say that, we go once again. Resende. Oh, Resende almost flipped it. Got his cart back onto the track. But he's going to get a big hefty time penalty for that though. My word, look at Miso Tapedi back in the hunt. Miso Tapedi fell off the lead. Or fell off from second until like 4th place, 5th place, and he's back into P2. Prizovic and Resende, all those fights happening up front. Tapedi got back into it. You don't want to get onto the curbs. As you saw there, it is wild how crazy, how easily you could flip your cart. Oh, that was a crazy first lap. Lap 3 of 7. Prizovic has got Miso Tapedi all over the back of him. Let's see if we can get on board here. Not that one. Not that one either. There we go. Let's go on board here. Miso Tapedi to see how he works the brakes. Oh, he's got the inside line already. See how he works that throttle. Oh, what's that? Tapedi's cart. Tapedi's got internet problems. Into the hairpin we go. Tapedi's going to go around the outside. Maybe do a little bit of a cutback. Yes, he is. But he's on the outside from the next corner though. The outside line is not the best one to go around into this final sector. Now he needs a toe. He needs a very strong toe. He needs a really strong exit. Now Prizovic goes on the defense. Tapedi stays on the racing line on the outside. As you can see, that black rubber line. Tapedi goes down the inside already. Boom, moves himself up into P1 now. Mr. Tapedi had a horrible start, came back on the same lap, and he's already back up into P1. Tapedi's got that setup locked and loaded. He's got, I think, dialed in. Pricevic doesn't want to let that go at all, though. Pricevic running the older OTK body kit. Didn't upgrade for this one. Tapedi running the new... What's that? The KG body kit. Tapedi breaking away. Pricevic doesn't want to let go of him yet, but Tapedi seems like he's just got too much pace. And we've got Daniel Ascende 3 seconds off the lead. Having that big moment, catching the kart. At least he got to get that kart back on the track without putting it on top of his head. So Daniel Ascende might have lost a couple positions in that exchange, but he's still on track and he still scores points if he finishes the race in P3. Pricevic now in the tow of Mr. Tapedi. Let's see if we can get on board here with Pricevic. You see how strong the tow is around here. The minis and the tow. These are one of those tracks where you just don't want to be in P1. Oh, you just see Pricevic getting so close to Tapedi. Tapedi staying on his line. He's not doing something irregular there. He's keeping it clean and consistent as much as he possibly can. Pricevic working him hard here, not letting go of Tapedi. I almost want to say P2 is where you want to be. You don't want to be running in P1 with this big toe. Pricevic lifting off early, getting onto the brakes. He doesn't want to move yet. Maybe try to call a dummy there to see if Tapedi hits the brakes late. Not fooling Tapedi today. Here he comes. Here comes Pricevic. He's going to go down the inside. Is Tapedi aware of what's happening? Oh, no! Oh, wow, what a catch there. Tapedi. Pricevic is clipping the rear of Tapedi, making him spin around, but giving him another love tap on the side, facing his kart the same way. And Tapedi's all over the back of Pricevic already. Oops. And now Tapedi gives Pricevic a bit of a love tap. So he's just returning the favor there. Don't want to be doing too much of that because that is, of course, penalty worthy. What do they call it? ABC, advantage by contact. They don't want to be doing that. Look at the driving here. That's lap 6 of 7. These youngsters are absolutely putting a great display. Amazing driving from these two guys up front. Tapedi now leading the way from Pricevic. Pricevic, does he need to do something different? Almost want to say he needs to change his approach completely. Tapedi's got a lot of pace out of the corners. My word, that gearing definitely works for him. It just shows you how strong the toe is, though, because once you tuck in behind a cart, he's not going to just run away from you. Well, having said that, Tapedi seems like he's got the gas. The afterburner is enabled at the moment. He's got a lot of pace. One more lap to go after this, I believe. The start of our final lap. Yes, this is the start of the final lap. There's the white flag. Pricevic, Tapedi. Who's going to take this one? Tapedi's got a very good defensive line there. Trying to... he's keeping it just on the inside of the black stuff, which is the rubber line that's been formed with all the laps being done by these juniors on the track today. Trying to keep as much grip as he possibly can while staying on the racing line and being defensive. But Tapedi seems like he's got this one covered so far, unless a mistake happens. Tapedi versus Pricevic. We're going to go into our last sector now. One driver that's caught them bit by bit is Daniel Ascende. So he's never been falling off after his big incident. So this is going to be an interesting final. Ascende, Pricevic, Tapedi. Who's going to take this one at the end of our final? As it stands, the pre-final honors will go to Mr. Tapedi, crossing the line in P1, Pricevic P2, and then Daniel Ascende will be in P3. And then crossing the line in P4 will be Cecil Koorts. And then Dimitar Kolev will be in P5. Rory Sang Mafisa will have P6. And then a DNF there by Ruvan Maritz. Unfortunately, Maritz not finishing the race. Not entirely sure what happened to Maritz. He was in a unfortunate exchange, I believe, in the beginning of the race, if memory serves me right. And that's probably why he hasn't finished this race. But we're going to go straight into the final. Can't waste too much time because our seniors are going to start directly after this race. Alright, everybody watching at home, who do you think is going to take this one? Misu Taperi, Pricevic, Daniel Resende. That's the top three. They were very much on the same pace throughout this whole race. Will we see a dark horse in the form of Sissel Koorts, Kolev, Mafisa, or even Maritz? Maritz, we know he's got the pace to fight up front. If he keeps it clean throughout the first lap and gets through all the exchanges, he might be able to come and fight up front as well. Right, the start of our final. Misu Taperi leading the way in the formation lap with Alexander Pricevic, followed by Resende, followed by Koorts, then Kolev, then Mafisa, then Maritz. We might only have 7 carts on track, but my word, these youngsters can really put on a fantastic show. What an awesome facility we are racing at Campillos in Spain. Amazing track. Whilst we wait for this formation lap to complete. What's coming next at OKL? We are busy building Christian stud. We are busy updating the tire models, adding more variety for the drivers, updating the standard base tires into something more relevant. There's still some work going around more engines. We are trying to get the Rotax engines in and more development around the OK series as well. And then, yeah, here we go. A lot of things coming. Christianstad will be the next track to be released in OKL though. While we wait for that, let's get back into this OKL World Series Round 3 final for the minis. Excuse me, for the juniors rather. Taperi's leading the way. Everything seems fine. Everybody's got their carts in the right place. That's lights out and away we go. Big nudge there from behind. Kolev on Resende. Pricevic got an absolute mega start. Maybe Misu Taperi was just a little bit too slow to get away because he's gone from first to second last. Daniel Resende though on the other side, he's moved up once again, having another good start. Oh, as I said that, he's on the inside going into B1 now. Daniel Resende, oh, Pricevic on the outside. Oh, big left tap between Resende and Pricevic. Pricevic sent into the tires and that's probably the end of his race. Does he still have everything on his cart? Yes, he does. So he'll be able to continue racing. A lot of work to be done now by Pricevic. Falling off there. Kolev now moving up into P1. Oh, a lot of love taps there. Oh, Resende turning Kolev around. Kolev is not going to be impressed with that. That's the one thing we said. The juniors need to realize they are racing with higher ping. Netcode is a much bigger threat during these races than what it would be in the African or South African series. Resende turned Kolev around, but he is back into P. Well, he's still back on track though. Having said that, look at this. Mr. Taperi first to last to second in one lap. That's a real roller coaster of emotions for that boy. Because he was in P1 starting the race. He went all the way to the back in the first, after the first 2 corners. And he's back into P2. And followed right behind him is Ruvan Maritz. Ruvan Maritz this time around getting it clean through the first couple of corners. Or the first lap rather. Which means Ruvan Maritz can now finally start fighting up front. He wants that podium. He wants that top step rather, not just a podium. He's not going to want to settle for anything less than P1, even if he started the race at the back. He's obviously lost a lot of points in that pre-final, but the maximum points to be gained is in the final, so he's going to have to do a lot of work. Pricevic still right at the back of the pack. Far off the pack rather. Taperi all over the back of Daniel Resende now. Let's see if we can grab another on board. That's not the one we were looking for. There we go, look at the pace difference. You just see him getting sucked in towards Daniel Resende. Look at that corner speed there from Mr. Taperi. Taperi's going to go around the outside. No, he's not. He's climbing onto the curb, going into the final corner exit there. He's going to just go straight onto the outside. He doesn't care about the toe. He knows that cart's got the pace. Resende on the inside, still got the hot line there. Resende. Just look at these two go at it. Throwing the cart out to the outside, opening up the corner a little bit more is Mr. Taperi. Resende is going with the conventional defensive line. But that doesn't help because Taperi placed his cart in the right place to get the inside line onto the next corner. Taperi's moved up into P1. Daniel Resende into P2 now. Daniel Resende has really come alive in OKL. Last year he's just been there or thereabout, really, just kind of finishing the races, not really showing anything spectacular. But this year, rather in this World Series, Daniel Resende has come alive. He's really started finding his rhythm. He's now fighting up front. It wasn't a fluke the last race, because he came back in round 3 and he's up there already again, fighting the likes of Taperi and Pricevic and Moritz. And that's really good to see these youngsters coming in, learning, getting better and improving every time they come out on the track. Resende all over the back of Taperi. Taperi as well was also just pretty much a back marker last year. This year he came out and he really started to get into his groove as well. Resende, Taperi fighting it out. Pricevic still climbing through the ranks. He's moved up 2 positions, but he's still very far off the lead. Resende is not going to want to let go of this. He had a big moment in the pre-final, almost flipped his cart, caught it, but fell off 3 seconds, and that gap remained. So he showed us he's got the pace. Look at that. Here we go. Resende going down the inside. Taperi giving him a lot of space, trying a little bit of a cutback. Not working out this time around. Going to go onto the double right now. Now this is where that pace of Taperi's corner speed seems fantastic. Look at that pace out of the corner. Resende, oh, he gives him a bit of a love tap there on the back there. Resende maybe breaking a bit too early, but they're both still going side by side into the last corners. The left hand and now the right hand get on back onto the start finish straight. Resende really keeps going with that defensive line. He puts that car so far on the inside, there's no room for you to try and maneuver through there. But having said that, here comes Taperi, pushed him out to the outside. Just a little bit of a gap shown there by Resende, and Taperi did not need a second invite for that. It's so impressive how these youngsters drive, and we have to remember this junior category, anybody below the age of 12 and below, the year you turn 12 and below, you are racing in a junior category. So we've got kids racing 8 years, 7 years old. Well, not today. I think the youngest one would be 9 years old, I think. And still, 9 years old, racing in a competitive league, in a simulator. It's really, really good to see these youngsters coming through the ranks. And there's a lot of them that's come through the junior ranks that's now racing in the senior category later on. So I'm excited to see what happens there. Couple laps to go. No, there's 4 more laps to go, rather. Let's have a look. Taperi still leading the way. Resende right behind him. Is there a time penalty? No, there's no time penalty. Just curious why Resende was showing P1. Ruben Moritz is 4.3 seconds off, so I think Ruben Moritz has got a time penalty. But look how far back Pricevic is, 10, 14 seconds. Pricevic is really just lost at the moment after that exchange in the beginning of the race with Daniel Resende. One driver who's not hanging around is Mr. Taperi. He's really gotten some serious pace under that cart. Is that the setup made by Alphonse Kiwi, the brilliance of Alphonse Kiwi, giving Mr. Taperi every bit of opportunity to grow and show his talent. Got a good setup behind him, or underneath him rather. All he needs to do is keep that cart on the track, keep it clean, keep it consistent. He went from P1 to P7 in the first lap, and he came back into P2 on that very same lap. It just shows you how fast that kart is at the moment. 1.2 seconds now, the gap Taperi breaking away from Ascender. Ascender can't. He's got no answer for the pace at the moment. Daniel Ascender falling off. That was what, 3-4 tenths the last lap. Where is Bricevic? Bricevic 14.6 seconds. He's very far behind at the moment. He's got a lot of work to do. He's got 2 more laps to go. It's pretty much it. I think best case scenario, he takes a position away from Kolev, but he's going to have to wait. He's going to have to hope for a mistake because at the moment the gap is just too much. Ascender 1.2 seconds of the pace. Let's see, they crossed the line now. Has he managed to gain this time around? Doesn't look like it's much happening there. 1.2, 1.1. I guess he's gained half a tenth this time around. Not enough to pose any threat. He's going to need about 3-4 tenths before he gets into that toe. But you almost want to think that that is pretty much it. Check that big gap. You can see on board from Mr. Taperi. There's a big gap between the two drivers. I think we're starting our final lap after this one. Taperi's just really throwing that kart into the corner, trying to maximize every bit of lap that he can get. MiniROK kart. Engine is singing at the moment. Taperi going into the 180 now. Then the left hander, then the right hander. You can see the gap's not going down at all. Taperi starting the final lap in this pre-final. He just needs to keep his kart on the track. 1.6, so he's gained, he's actually pulled away half a second in that last lap. Taperi has just continued getting quicker and quicker. He's really not leaving anything behind. Daniel Ascender is holding on for dear life, but it's not enough at the moment. He's going to have to throw the kitchen sink at this one if he wants to get any closer. 1.6 seconds is the gap, but it doesn't seem like it's going to close. Taperi just needs to keep his kart all 4 wheels on the track. Don't do anything silly. Don't get a time penalty. Don't go into 2 wheels. Just keep it consistent. He's got 1.6 seconds. He can throw away some time to keep it clean. But that's normally when we see the mistakes creep in. When the kids just, oh, I'm taking it easy, don't want to do anything silly, and then you end up making a silly mistake. OKL World Series Round 3 Juniors Final. This is the last couple corners now. Mr. Taperi had a roller coaster of a race. P1 to the last position, back into P2 and now into P1. Mr. Taperi takes the final ahead of Daniel Ascender, and then Ruvan Mirits last into P3. Then Dimitar Kolev on a debut race, he gets a P4. Bricevic coming back into P5 after an unfortunate incident. There's probably going to be an incident review there. Sissel Koorts will be the next and last driver to finish the race. Sissel Koorts will be in P6, and Rory Sangmafisa not finishing the race. Alright, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of the race. Well done to Mr. Taperi. Taperi is P1, P2, Daniel Ascender, P3, Ruvan Mirits. That's your podium. Well done to the juniors. Of course, those will be unofficial results pending any incident reviews. We're going to close the stream off immediately, go into the driver's briefing, and we'll see you just after 8 o'clock for the seniors. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Don't go away too long. We'll check you in just a short while.